Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of this planner page from World of Flowers by Johanna Basford. Now, in between videos I did go over the top of the border with a burnishing pencil. This is the Derwent burnisher. It's the only burnisher that I've ever heard of, and I feel that it looks better. It flattens it slightly in the sense that you can't see any shine. Also, you can actually. It just feels a bit duller to me, but it has, I think, improved the look of it. I mean, I can still see a lighter bit of green here and things like that. It's not perfect, but I'm happier with it. And what we're going to do today is start with this flower. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, or you know, I haven't really thought about what I'm going to do with it yet, so we'll see. Now, what I have decided is that I wanted to have a yellow flower, a yellow flower centre. What I might do actually is come right in so we can do the flower first and then the leaves after. So I rather like yellow, and I'm thinking excuse me, it will stand out then from our frame, which is quite dark. But I'm going to use a selection of colours. I'm just looking at what I've got. I'm going to start with the maple sugar, which I think is this one. No, here it is. Maple sugar. It's a little bit brownish. It's maybe a bit like the a Naples. And I'm going to mark on these little dots, or whatever these are, to start with. Oh, there's a dog barking. I don't know if you can hear it. Sounds quite cute. And I'm also going to do these circles, both sets, around the outside. It's going to take a little bit of time to do each one. Now, it's interesting that when I did this page the first time, and my aunt actually commented on my picture, and she's very creative, and she said these would make good bookmarks, and I was like, I wouldn't dare cut them out of my book. But she's so right, they really would. And I feel that there's probably nothing wrong, copyright wise, if you colour it in and then you photocopy it and then use it yourself as a bookmark. I don't see any problem with that, really. I know Johanna has brought out colouring bookmarks, but it was a long time ago. You can't get them now, so I think it would be okay. But obviously you could cut them out of your book, but if you're anything like me, you wouldn't want to do that. Okay, let me just put that pencil somewhere. Look at my swatch chart. Right, for the very inside of what I want to try to do is to make this centre look like it's domed and it's sticking out of the page. Now, I'm hoping that I can do that, but it's tricky, and I've not tried it with these pencils before. But I'm grabbing the chestnut brown and going to sharpen it and use it very sparingly around the very edge. Oh, there it is, chestnut brown, to create a sort of area that might look like there's some shadow down here. My neighbour's dog was in the garden earlier. I didn't recognise it. I thought she had a different dog, so maybe she's got a new dog. I mean, it looked old, but that doesn't mean it isn't a new dog to her. Maybe she had a different dog that grew up. Now I'm going to just scumble around the edge. You see what I'm doing? Scumbly, 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 so that I can blend it into my next colour. Okay, and that's that one. It doesn't have to be too tricky. I'm just thinking it through slowly. I'm going to use the bamboo colour next. There we go. I'm going to sharpen it again. I want to make sure that I can get around those little seeds, which is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm just going to go nice and slowly, and then bring some of this slightly lighter colour in towards the middle of the flower centre. Now, if you want some more tips, by the way, on colouring centres of flowers, I do have a video on it. What a surprise, she's got a on everything. How I Colour Flower Centres in Johanna Basford books, it's called. You can take a look at that, and I just basically show you different flower centres that I've coloured and how I've done it, just to give you some different tips and tricks, well, ideas really. Now we are using the mustard. We're moving towards a more yellowy colour. I'm slightly overlapping what I've done already. And just moving towards the centre, it's looking slightly golder. And next I want like a proper yellow. So I'm going to go for the dandelion. Just got to find it in my pencil case. There it is. Again, I want to sharpen it. This will be my final colour, and I want to leave a tiny bit of white right in the middle. Now, I may not succeed at this, so I'm telling you in case I fail. Gosh, fail's a bit of a negative word, isn't it? In case I don't manage it, and that's what I'm intending. I'm going over everything with this because I think it adds a lovely vibrancy to our whole flower centre. And then we're just going to draw it in towards the middle. That's, yep, I've got a bit of white still there. I'm going to just sit back and look. Maybe that's a bit too much. Maybe I just need to bring a tad more in and just blot it a little bit. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. You could make it even darker around the very edge to really make it look dark. But let's have a go. I'll show you. I think the sepia is our darkest brownie colour. There's the sepia, and I'm going to sharpen it and just really get in close to those little circles. Just try and create a real dark, shadowy look just down there on that very, very edge. I'm not going to scumble it in and try and blend it. I'm just going to leave it as a deep shadow. Yeah, that's fine. It might not make a big difference to what you can see. Okay, so there is our flower centre, and that really brightens our page already. I mean, I know you can't see the whole thing, but believe me, it does. And I had been thinking I wanted to use like cold colours like the frame, but I think actually our maroon isn't that cold, and I don't really want to anymore. I quite fancy doing a red to orange, something like that. So I'm going to turn back to my reds. What have we got? I think I'm going to use the have I used the crimson already? No. Okay, oh, I can't get it out. Crimson. My pencils are sitting on top of my son's laptop, which is still in here, so they're moving around. Now, along this edge, we want our most intense amount of colour here. And also in between, in some areas here, there are little gaps. I'm just going to go all the way around, filling those in with this. This is going to be our most intense bit. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to gently start to reduce the amount of colour here. Just sort of scumble it out slowly. I want so that when I put my orange on, I can just, it will just blend in nicely. So each row I'm doing, I'm putting less and less colour down till we get to the end. You see? Yeah, I'm sure you can. I'm just checking. I was just checking in my camera when I said, can you see? It sounded rather demanding. Can you see? Have a look. No. I was just checking that the camera was in the right place, basically. Well, the book was in the right place. Don't tend to move the camera, just the book. We're just doing the same thing here, just gently scumbling it out to reduce the amount of colour. Just going to do the same on every petal. It doesn't matter if these ones underneath are a little bit darker, because I think they would be. I haven't done any there. There we go. I think I might watch a quiz show tonight. There was a quiz on last night, 1% Club. I like playing that game. Along, you know, you sort of play along, and a couple of times I've got all the way to the last question. The questions get progressively harder. I'm not going to explain all the rules, but the questions get progressively harder. So the further you get through, the better you feel. But they're sort of logical questions rather than knowledge-based, which is quite different to other quizzes. So that makes it quite fun. Yeah, as I say, usually I've got to the end a few times, but I can never get the last question. It's just too hard. And last time I didn't do as well. So I'm like, I want some retribution. I want to do better this time. So that might be a bit fun. And I'll watch it with my headphones on, not disturb anybody else. And because it's quite slow, because I spend ages going through the questions and talking to people, some of the players and things like that. It's quite good because I look up, do a question, look down. They probably only have about 12 questions in like an hour, maybe 20, I don't know. So look up, look at the question, and then just leave it sort of playing, entertaining in the background while you then get on, do some colouring. It's quite a good little one to watch, I find. Anyway, now I'm going to go back around this centre to make sure I've gone right up to those circles, because in these last few I haven't really gone quite right up to them. There we go. Okay, so that's our start. Now we're going to use the tangerine orange. I'm going to give it a sharpen. Now, I'm not sure what the best approach with this is. I think I'm going to start, we've got this really dark bit just beyond there, and start to blend it in. I think that will work. Now I want to fade this too, because I don't want it to get really intense on the tip, like that. And what I really want is to dull that down a bit with my next colour, which will be a yellow, because it's a bit neon and bright. So I'm thinking if I can get a dull yellow, I'm not sure what yet. I can't look at my swatch chart while I'm colouring in. Funny that, I can't look with my eyes at two different things at once. And if it ends up that we can't see a big enough contrast between the different colours, we can go back over them again. Sometimes I find that is necessary. Now, the yolk yellow is quite a good one. Pencil's rolling all over the place. There it is. It's a sort of dull orangey yellow, almost brownish. I think it might just work. Go, yolk yellow. So again, I'm going to go over what I've done. But I'm not fading to the tip on this one. I want to get it all so that we're getting rid of as much of the white paper as we can. Now I have been thinking about whether I need to do a background behind these, or whether the white background really works, and I'm thinking the white background is such a contrast to our border and the colour of our flowers that I think that I'm probably going to leave it white behind. I may change my mind at the last minute. I know what I'm like, but at the moment I'm thinking it's working quite well. I try to see whether I actually put any orange on this one, but I think as I'm putting this yellow on top, it's beginning to show up more. I'm burnishing it in. go. And the last little bit. Now I'm trying to think whether I want a little more definition between the petals, and I think I do. So this is the sepia, and I'm going to just run it along the edges here to put in a shadow between our petals, just to help us with the definition. There we go. That's better, I think. Now our leaves, we'll start here. I'm going to have a look. We've got, I think our more olivey colours might work quite well. Yeah, so I'm going to go for a cactus green to start with. I think that's it there, is it? Yeah. So a cactus green. And what I'm going to do with this, with my... I've got a little bit in the middle which I'm going to try not to colour over. I'm going to go dark here and then fade out towards the edge like that, and then the other side of that central piece like that. This one's a bit longer, so take that down there, and then just gently fade it out towards the edge. Same on the other side. And then the lower leaves, ooh, you can't see them. Do the same thing. There we go. Try and get right up to the edge, that central bit if you can. First to admit that it's not that easy to see. And then this one as well. Then we need a slightly lighter colour. What was I going to use? The moss green. I think it's there. Yeah, the moss green. I'm also going to use this for the stem. Oh, there you go. I'm going to go over the whole thing with this and hopefully it'll all blend together, but we'll see the edges looking a little bit yellower and lighter than that central bit, apart from this bit which will be the light. There we go. I think it goes quite well with this colour, which is why I decided to do it this way. I'm going to sharpen. There we go. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to do the other flower as part of this video or leave it. I'm actually getting quite, my voice is getting tired, I'm not sort of running out of things to say, and my throat's getting dry, so I sort of want to stop in a bit, but we haven't done a particularly long video. But on the other hand, you know, if you haven't done the others yet, there'll be a lot of catching up to do. Anyway, I'm just going to do the whole of the stem. I will be probably using the other colour on it as well in a minute, but I'm just filling it in with this moss green. And we can do these. Don't forget to do that central stem. I don't know if my husband's asleep. He's really quiet next door. He seems to have not been himself today. He keeps forgetting things and stuff and beating himself up a bit about it. I don't know. She was supposed to be sending an email, or maybe it was a Teams message. So I need to remind him, see if he's done that. So I need to go next door and do that in a minute. Right. Now it's time to do a little something with the stem. I'm going to sharpen my cactus green pencil. And what I want to do with it is to take it along the edges. To try to create a slightly darker bit. How far can you see? We can see down to that other leaf. Now I sort of missed the edge a little bit in places when I was colouring it with the moss green, but I wasn't too finicky because I knew I was going to be doing this. Quite sad this week, I don't have a crossword to do. Although I might be able to get one in the week. I always do the big issue crossword, and our seller wasn't there yesterday apparently. Usually get one on a Saturday. So I'm just bringing this in a tad. But she might be around later in the week. We'll see. There we go. I think I am happy. I'm going to come out and see how it looks in camera. On camera even. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there, because if you decide you want to burnish your border, which I did between videos, it might take you a little bit of time. So I think I'll leave it there, and I'm actually going to probably do the other one tomorrow, because I probably won't record any more today. But thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoy your day, and happy colouring.